What's up? Happy New Year. Welcome to In the Lounge with Dre and V. I am your co-host, Queen V, and I have with me that dude they call Dre. What's up, Dre?
Queen V, what's the good word? What's going on?
I'm good, man. Chilling. How are you?
I'm great. Very great. It's the new year. Very happy. This is our first podcast of the new year and can't wait to get it started. And I just want you guys to know that we're going to continue with the efforts to giving you podcasts on a every 2-week basis or a bi-weekly basis. And we just can't wait to, get into the new year and start doing more podcasts for you. So today we're going to talk about what we can do as a community to have an effect on black crime as much as we do hate crimes on black and brown people. So that's what we're going to discuss today. But y'all know what it is. Before we go into that, we had to have Queen V's word on the street. Queen V, take it away.
It's the queen, y'all. It's the queen, y'all.
Place your ear to your speaker and get ready for Queen V's word on the street.
It's the queen, y'all. It's the queen, y'all.
So, word on the street is that Jasmine Barnes is the 7-year-old girl that was killed while riding in a car, I should say, with her family in Texas. Apparently, in the beginning, they thought that it was a white guy that had shot and killed Jasmine. But after further investigation, they found out that it was actually a young black man who goes by the name of Eric Black Jr., and he is 20 years old. Eric has admitted to involvement in the shooting. Apparently, it's still an open investigation, though, however, because they're searching for additional suspects that could possibly have been involved. So, I think it's interesting because Shaun King, who is an advocate for black people when injustice is being served, got involved and made sure that the Texas investigators, had some tips that he had received and just made sure that the investigation was being handled accordingly. So, it's very saddening to find out, that a 7-year-old was killed. She was still in her pajamas. They were just going to get food for breakfast. And it's just sad. And it was a mistaken identity. Apparently, it was a drive-by shooting. They thought someone else was in the car. So, but we have to stop this reckless shooting and using guns so recklessly. We just do. Now a 7-year-old is no longer here. Her family had to not only, witness that, but they have to live with that for the rest of their lives, seeing that their daughter or their sister was murdered right in front of them for no reason.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. And it's just like, it could have been my daughter. It could have been anybody's daughter. It's just like all these people. It's sad to know, like, they, this family just went to wherever they went to. I think it was a Walmart, and just for that to happen, just going to a Walmart, it means it can happen anywhere in any community. So it's sad, real sad.
It is. I mean, and it happens all the time. I mean, this one, thankfully has gotten national coverage, but it happens almost on a, unfortunately, daily basis.
Yeah, some of it ain't even on the news.
Somewhere around, none of it's on the news. I mean, when you think about it, the majority of it is not on the news, but It's happening every day. So, it just happened to me, but I just, wanted to share that they did at least find one guilty party. So I hope that their family is able to breathe while they prepare to lay their daughter to rest, knowing that at least justice is, hopefully going to be served. And I hope that they find, if there's additional people involved, I hope that they find them, they bring them in. So, and it's interesting because, everybody was looking for this white guy, I think, in a red pickup truck, and they were just saying how when you first have something like that happen to you, sometimes you don't remember everything. And that's why investigators come back day after day after day and ask you the same questions, because more things come to light as you've had an opportunity to really think about it, and that person that they first identified as a possible suspect, it sounds like they were just maybe in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think, they would just happen to be driving driving by or something
Right.
like that. And, just, you hear gunshots and all of a sudden you look up
Right.
and somebody's driving past you and, it's them. But, they were coming anyway. And then they just drove into all the gun shooting. And when you look up, when it's clear or whatever, you see a red truck going away. So you automatically assume that. Plus, with gunshots and all that and fear and stuff, you tend to, you don't know what you see what you see, but you're not thinking straight,
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. So that's my word on the street. I'm going to keep it there. I know that was pretty heavy, so I'm not going to add additional information, add additional topics to that. I'm going to keep it pretty light today.
Yeah, just say a prayer for the family and just say a prayer that'll get them through and give them some strength at this time because it's not easy losing a child. So keep them in prayer. So today we're going to talk about what we can do as a community to have an effect on black crime as we do hate crimes on brown people. So let's get right into it. Queen V, are you ready?
I'm ready. I think this is a absolutely fabulous topic to discuss. Social media has played a huge role in bringing to justice people, or bringing not even just to justice, but bringing awareness to hate crimes against Black and brown people. And I just feel like at some point we need to take that energy and make that same change when it comes to Black on Black crime in our own community. For instance, if I know that whole saying, snitches get stitches, and you shouldn't be snitching. But if we bring national attention to some of these crimes that are happening in our communities, just think about how we can get these folks off the street that are committing these senseless acts of violence against our own people. Just think about the effect that we could have. Social media has done wonders with getting folks fired, getting people, arrested, all these different things because of hate crimes against us. So what if we put that same energy into Black on Black crimes and things that senseless acts of violence? Kudos to Shaun King and all the others who stepped up and provided information to help bring this Eric Black to justice, and to help get Eric Black arrested, I should say. He hasn't been officially charged yet. We don't know what he'll be charged with, but just the fact that we were able to get this case moving quickly in the right direction.
And we have so many, and it can be done too, because we have so many community leaders in different communities, and there's a lot of them. And, if you just put those resources together, there's nothing that any African American community can't do, because they're everywhere. There's always somebody who wants to make positive change. You might be outnumbered, but there's always somebody there who wants to make positive change and for their community. So the numbers are there. The willingness is there. It's just a matter of pulling those people together. But how do you do it? That's the thing. How do we get the community to buy into this?
Right.
Because like you said, that no snitch and all of this other stuff, it's a different mentality. It's a different type of law they live under. We live under laws governed by the United States of America. Well, in those neighborhoods, they live under street laws, and not all of them, but there's a lot of them that live under street laws. They have the street law mentality, no snitching, and their kids are raised like that. I've seen kids say stop snitching and all of this stuff, and they know not to snitch. So the challenge comes in when we try to get those people to change their mindset. It's okay to say something, especially if somebody's been killed. And it's another thing. It's just like all those people who are saying, don't snitch and all of that stuff. Do they say the same thing if it was their child? Because here's the thing. You saying no snitching, but if somebody mess with, kill somebody in your family and somebody know, you're going to go after that dude and find out who it is. So it's just like, now you want him to say something, but I mean, it's different because he's saying something to you instead of the cops. But, I think the community just needs to come together and get out of that mindset of no snitching and just, you see somebody doing something wrong, you talk to them. And, it's not, I'm not just going, point at the young youth of today. I mean, a majority of it is, but I'm talking about everybody. If they're doing something wrong, you need to address that. If you're a member of that community and you're known, you need to address it. It needs to be addressed, Yeah,
I mean, and I think it even, just to make it a broader stance, a broader initiative, how about we just start with making it known that this act of violence has occurred. I mean, Jasmine Barnes' story made national news, but this is happening every day and it doesn't make national news. So what can we do to make sure that we are making everyone as much as we can aware of what's going on? Because maybe if they become a hashtag, maybe if they become national news, maybe that will, I'm not naive, don't get me wrong, but maybe, certain things won't happen as often because they know that could have an effect.
Right.
Normally I could do this and ride under the radar, but folks is on top of things now. You killing people in our community. We blasting. Everyone gonna know that this occurred. Everyone's gonna know. If you know something, tell something.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't want that much attention. I don't need that much heat on me. So I'ma just, I'ma fall back. It's the same thing with cops. I mean, yes, cops are getting killed still, but cops don't get killed as often as they probably would. Acts of violence doesn't happen to them as often as it probably would if there wasn't this stigma that if you kill a cop, the penalty for that is ridiculous. Not only that, when you're gonna have all this attention on you. It's gonna make a national news coverage, and people don't want that. They don't want to be in the news like that. They don't want to be spending that much time in prison. Folks don't mind spending time in prison. They're not trying to spend their life in prison. So maybe, making what's going on in your community more open to, social media, maybe that will help. Just even if nothing else, bring some light to like, hey, we need some assistance here. Because as you can see, it's been 2 months. We've been posting what's going on in our communities. So maybe we need to bring, more like you were talking about, more community leaders into this area because we need more help.
Yeah. And another thing is like, when you look at the news and you take the whole philosophy of news is, providing information. And a lot of times a news broadcasting agency, they go after the unusual, that's unusual. They go after news and unusual stuff. And sad to say, doing positive things in some of these communities are unusual and the news comes. So my answer to how to make it more viral and make everybody more aware is these community leaders, have some of these events, have some of these nonviolent events and invite your local police chief, call the news, your local news, and just get everybody out there. Get everybody out there, whether it be just like a big speech or a public speaker, or you have food out there, whatever. You make it viral by getting everybody involved, not just the people who just live there. So you invite the police chief, the news may come, say, okay, the police chief, and that might make news too, because there's plenty of times I've watched CNN and they're going in these little towns that I've never heard of just because of one little thing, something unusual. Like I said, something unusual. So I think if somebody with a big name, reach out to somebody. It's not easy reaching out to like a Roland Martin or something like that, but you reach out to a name that has the potential to get that stuff out there. All these followers on these leaders on like they have big fans and followers.
Well, it is that easy. I mean, I follow Sean King. I follow Roland Martin. I follow them all. So it is that easy.
Right.
You go on their page. You let them know what's going on. It is that easy to get this information out to the right folks, you know? So we just have to start doing it, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
think that's, that's only a small, percentage of how we can help. I think something that you just touched on is also, remember back in the day, in certain communities, the cops knew the people that lived in those communities.
Yeah. Yep.
They
live
beat the
amongst
street.
with them. Yeah.
What is it called? Beat the street or whatever they called it. And I don't know that we're doing that anymore. Do the police officers in that area know those folks in that area?
I've seen some police departments do community policing. They call it community policing, where there's times where cop officers come out to the community, play football with the kids. We see that on the news, but I don't know if it's enough of it. I mean, not every police station is doing that. And I think if they did, it would give some positive light on police officers too.
Right. And they would know that we are here to help.
Right.
And even though there's this rule, no snitching, snitches get stitches, all of that, you don't talk to the cops aren't your friend. I think if we see more of their presence and we see that, hey, they know my name, they know when something's wrong because they're around enough to know that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's so much more crime going on in it probably now than there was back then. So maybe they don't have the resources to, have people on the streets, in the neighborhoods, just kind of walking the beat and just staying in touch. It's not even that they're looking for crime. They're just a part of the community.
Right. And, it's crazy because I know plenty of police officers, and when they go into these neighborhoods, they probably are looked at as the enemy. But I know them personally, and I know there's not a wrongful bone in their body. But the community in which they police, they don't know that. And that's why it's so important to get to know the people in the community, get to know the officer, get to know who he is, who they are. You build that relationship. When things happen like that, the community knows this officer is not like that. So he must have, have good intentions for whatever outcome it is. So it's just a matter of knowing your police officers and knowing the police officers knowing their community.
Yeah. And then, to get off that subject and move on to another, option maybe to help alleviate the Black on Black crimes and just our people committing crimes in general, violent crimes in general, is that as a community, we need to be mentoring. You have a lot of these young kids out here who have young parents who were not able to mature enough themselves to be able to know even how to parent their own child, who are out here hustling and trying to survive. You have people being born into families where poverty just exists and it is what it is. And, you're born with a fight or flight mentality. So it's not that they're bad people intentionally. It's just that
they would call that being born into it. Yeah.
This is all they know.
Right.
And this and their world is, they're just fight or flight. You gotta take care of yourself. And this is survival. It's survival mode for them. And I'm not saying that makes it wrong or right. But, when I was watching CNN and Eric Black, it was a point where he turned around and you could see how young he was in his eyes. This young boy, if someone had mentored him maybe, if someone had made sure he stayed off those streets, Jasmine might still be here and he might not be getting ready to face time in prison and have this regret of killing this 7-year-old girl, beautiful, beautiful girl, for no reason.
Right.
But that it was mistaken identity, which he had no business being out there shooting up folk for whatever reason anyway. But now you done shut up the wrong person, and it has to happen to be a 7-year-old, beautiful, beautiful girl.
Yeah, and it's sad because I was with you when you said that, when you saw the video when he turned around. I felt bad for him You know, I felt bad. I know it's hard. You know, like everybody's like, how you feel bad for
he's human.
how do you
like
feel
me.
bad for somebody who shot a 7-year-old girl? I feel bad because he's young and he made a bad. I'm not gonna say stupid. He made a bad decision.
He's stupid.
He made a bad decision, and I'm not gonna call him stupid because, like you said,
I don't mean stupid in like a non-smart way. I mean he made a stupid decision.
Right. So
Let's
he made a
bad
decision, stupid decision that cost a girl's life. And the thing is, you know, one life has been taken away, but many lives have been affected by this.
Yes.
Because he's 20 years old, and I'm not saying he's going to prison for life. Capital murder, you might get some time.
Oh yeah.
But that one decision, your whole a good part of your life is going to be dedicated to the prison system. And when you get out, you'll still, don't get me wrong, you can start over, but that one decision, man, let's just say he gets 20 years. He'll be out when he's 40. You could still live life, of course, definitely, but 20 years didn't have to be taken away from you. You know?
Right.
And who's to say that you're not going to come out a better criminal? You know? Your mentality in jail, it changes you dramatically. For some people, it changes them. You know, some people come out learning their lessons. Some people come out saying, you know, I'm going to do what I got to do. But dumb decision, bad decision. And, you know, like you said, if somebody would have just, you know, mentored this kid, you know, either growing up or, you know, in the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, say, hey, you know, this is, you know, brother, look, don't do this. You heading down the wrong direction. That's all they needed. You know?
Yeah, you know,
it would have made a difference.
And this mentoring, you know, what is it that we can do in our school system? You know, school is someplace that kids are supposed to go. They have to go by law, right? Unless you're being homeschooled, you need to be in a school building during the school year. What is it that, you know, what is it that we can do to, you know, is there anything that we can instill in the schools to help, you know, especially in these communities where we know that, you know, there may not be a father in the home, or maybe there is a mother and a father in the home, but, you know, we know that maybe they're not getting the best care. You know, maybe they're not being provided with the best resources that they need to be successful. What is it that we can do in this school? Is there classes that we can create and have them attend to make sure that they're prepared? I mean, think about like economics and you know, cooking and all those different types of things that they have in the school to help you to prepare to get out in the world and be able to, you know, build something, or, you know, wood shop or something like that. What is it that we can create from a school course perspective that could maybe help steer these folks in the right directions? And can we bring in like a big brother, big sister type of program into the schools, or do we have something like that already and we're just not utilizing it?
You know, I think it varies by states. Like, you have mentors that, you know, that can come into the school and talk to the children. But here's the thing with that. I can spend a lot of time reading a book on like how to like throw a football or whatever, but it's not going to mean anything until I just actually get a football and throw it. So with that said,
right, some
of these children, you know, I mean, they have these mentors coming in. You have police officers coming into school saying, if you do this, you're going to jail. If you do this, you're going to jail. You can tell them that they're going to jail all you want, but until they go in that jail system, some of them, they got to see it. So I don't think the schools are going to have any type of program where they risk children going into a jail and talking to these prisoners. But I think that's something that's needed.
Yeah, I mean, and I get that. That actually is not where I was going. I wasn't even more focused on scaring kids. I was focused more on building children.
Well,
so
I don't
for
mean
example,
I didn't mean scaring them, like just talking to them, like, you know, no.
I mean, but when I say scaring them, I mean, I don't want to focus on the negatives. I don't want to focus on, if you continue down this road, you're going to jail. Yeah, I know that that's realistic. What I'm saying is, what can we do for a semester in a school, a course that would allow them to have hands-on workshop type course that will just help them to start to see some positives of taking this road instead of that road.
Oh, okay. You
That
mean like
type of
programs.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason
Oh,
I say that is because they spend enough time in school already. So trying to get them to an after school program, depending on their, resources, might be difficult.
right.
But if we
right.
could have some courses available in the class in school that they have to attend anyway, and maybe you make it a mandatory requirement for kids that continue to be in detention, kids that seem to be going down that wrong path. Maybe you make that a requirement for them to attend this course for a quarter. And that course has, and part of that course might be, having a mentor or a mentee, assigned to you that you meet with on a weekly basis. And I know that that's expensive. I get that, and I know that we don't put enough funds into education. But I also think that if we come up with something that's valuable and we make a stance, going back to social media, we make a stance and we make this thing national and we request and demand it, we might not get everything we want, but maybe we can get a budget or a grant for some of the things that we want.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I like you said, I think that the financial part of it is where the challenge will come in. And that's why, I'm going to go a little deeper with that. We got to get financially financed for this. And that's where the parents come in, Join your local PTA, your school's PTA. Do some fundraising.
Go to school
cookies,
boards,
something.
meetings,
Go to the meetings
and demand certain things
Yes.
for your. I'm just going to put it out there. Going to a school board with a majority of white students, those parents are in attendance. When we lived in New Jersey, there was a law that was passed. I can't even remember what it was, but it affected schools and it was an immediate issue. The law, no changes, no, what's the word I'm looking for? Nothing was done to accommodate folks in the black schools. But there was this one white school in particular that said, hell no. They arrived at that school board meeting in droves by the hundreds and said that we're not accepting this. So you need to figure out a way to make this work for our students. If we had just did the same thing, they would have made accommodations for us as well. So, going to your school board meetings, like you said, going to PTAs, being involved in the PTA, become the president. Do whatever it is you got to do to make sure that, one, you can raise funds for certain things that you want. So say if on a national level, we can't get the stupid secretary or educator lady, whatever her name is, to DeVoe. Was it Betsy DeVoe?
Yeah.
The idiot. We can't get her to maybe pass something or to request a certain bill or funding for a certain thing. But maybe on a local level, we can do something for our schools after school. We can do after school mentoring programs once a month. We can reach out to these nonprofit organizations, right? And ask them, what can we do to have you come to our school once a month to host mentoring programs? I mean, we don't know until we ask, I guess.
Right.
But
right.
and maybe these things won't help, or maybe I'm thinking, sometimes you think about things that you want to happen and it's not as easy for it to happen. But I feel like we got to start somewhere. We got to start somewhere to try to get some of these folks off the street, to try to get them on the right path. And I feel like if we could do that, folks won't be quick to pick up a gun. They won't be quick to sell weed and drugs.
And
you know?
Yeah, and there's a few schools that I know of that are in this area. They have a lot of, the learning is so different. Like, it's not just you're not learning just your regular math, science, reading and stuff like that. It's that plus, whatever you want to be. Like, if you want to be a doctor or you want to be an engineer, there's additional classes that are fun for these kids, but they're learning too.
Right.
So if you want to, if you want to be a scientist, you're going to take science, but then you got these awesome classes where you're doing a lot of experimenting and it's gaining your interest, and it's not work to you. It's something fun that you like to do. some of these schools have that. Unfortunately, every school can't have that because of budgeting purposes. But I think that's where it starts. Like you said, like, just having these resources in the schools rather, to deter them from doing other things.
Encouraging after school activities. Can we make it a requirement? Do we have the resources to make it a requirement where all, everyone enrolled in that school needs to be participating in some type of extracurricular activity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the schools have it too.
Yeah, because statistics show that, when kids are involved in sports or extracurricular activities, they have less time to get involved in other things. And I'm not saying that it's the young kids that are only the ones out here committing crimes, because we know that grown folks are doing that too. But it starts from somewhere. You get this fight or flight mindset from somewhere. And how do we turn that around so that as you get older and you have the means to get the guns, to, participate in illegal activities, how do we turn it, this fight or flight mode that sometimes you're born into, right? How do we turn that during their childhood so that they choose the right path when they have options and the means to do something else? And it starts at the home, but sometimes at home, their home life might not be that great. So what can we do in these schools? What can we do in a community as the community leaders, as people in the community who have made it out, right? Who have made something of themselves? What can we do to help the others?
Yeah.
And, a lot of people will say it's not my responsibility, but it is.
Absolutely. It's definitely their responsibility because it's just your responsibility, period. We have a responsibility to do right by today's youth because it does affect us. It affects us. It affects our kids. It affects the people we know and love. Because that, like I always say this, and sometimes I just feel like I say it too much, but that one kid you help could be the difference between him robbing your daughter or him coming to save your daughter.
Exactly.
So
exactly,
it is our responsibility. So, just keep that in mind, people. Keep that in mind. We are our own community, and we decide how our community is going to be by our choices. So keep that in mind.
And that same, and I just want to kind of end on, that same energy that you put into making these videos and these hashtags go viral for hate crimes is the same energy you need to put into these black on black crimes that are happening in your own neighborhood. Snitches get stitches. Our people are dying daily. They are dying, for stupid reasons. And I understand that some of the black on black crime, is someone that's a criminal killing someone else that's a criminal. It doesn't matter. We got too many bodies on the street. I don't care if it's innocent people dying or if it's a criminal that you killed. At the end of the day, we got too many bodies on the street. Yeah. We already the minority. They want to see us killing each other. We got to stop doing this. So, we have to start thinking from two perspectives. What can we do to build our kids up so that they grow up to be law-abiding citizens? That's number one. That's how you stop the criminals from killing the criminals, right? And then, the criminals that are killing the innocent, what are we doing in our community to make sure that they are being brought to justice? If you see something, say something. You know what I mean? Say something. Absolutely. If they behind bars, they're not coming after you. And if you keep your mouth shut as you're saying something, you're not telling everybody that you're the one that says something. If you do it quietly, but efficiently, maybe don't nobody even gotta know. But you running off to the cops telling them, and then you telling everybody and their mama, keep your mouth shut. Tell the people that can help, and then keep it moving. I agree. And then go viral with some things. If somebody posts a video and it's showing something, make that thing go viral. If somebody's killing somebody and this is innocent, like this Jasmine Barnes murder would not have made national news, number one, had we not thought it was a white guy that killed her. Let's just be honest, people. The only reason that made it to Shaun King's desk was because originally we thought it was a white man that had killed this 7-year-old black girl. Had this been a black guy from the jump, we would have never known about Jasmine Barnes. That is what bothers me. And that is what we got to change.
I agree. Amen. So I guess was that your final thought?
That is my final thought.
Okay. So I gave my final thought. I just didn't tell you it was my final thought. But like I said, just gotta,
And I know this is just a talk, right? This is just the beginning. Us having this dialogue is really just the beginning. There's nothing can be gained from words. You got to start putting your words into action. So I would love to hear from the folks listening to this podcast. What can we do to put some of these words into action? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to commit to? It's the beginning of the year. What are you willing to commit to be a mentor to a kid in your area or someone that you know of that could use a mentor? Yeah. Maybe they don't have a mother or father, or maybe they are, they have both parents, but their parents are absent. Or just, they live in that life and, they don't know any better. Who knows? Whatever the reason is, what can you do to commit to putting some of these words or suggestions that we've spoken of into action and making a difference? It just takes one. We don't have to make a difference to a million. Making a difference to one is awesome. And we go and we take it from there. But, and offline, we need to talk about what we can do to put some of these words that we spoke about into action this year.
Yeah. I'd like to know what the public thinks too. I mean, give me your opinion. Let me just give you the website, weinthelounge.com/45. Okay. And there you can just give your comments and your opinions and just offer some solutions. So that's weinthelounge.com/45.
Yes. And not only offer solutions, but let's take a stance. Let's all take a pledge. Let us know what you're pledging to do this year to help a kid in your community, to help black on black crime decrease in your community, to make a change, an impactful change in your community. Whether it's one household, one person, whatever, 10. It doesn't. No matter how big or small. What are you going to pledge to do in 2019 to try to make a difference?
Yeah, let us know what community you live in too. We'd like to know that too. So that's going to do it for this portion of the show. I really, really, really think you guys should take heed to this and see what you can do to change your community. So right now we're going to do the Stu Nod of the Week. And y'all know what that is. Stu Nod of the Week is that stupid person that does stupid things all the stupid time. So today's Stu Nod of the Week comes out of St. Petersburg, Florida. This man, Queen V, should I say his name?
Absolutely. What you mean? Should we say his name? Wasn't this what we just talking about? Make that sugar honey iced tea viral. Say his name. Say his name.
All right. So Daniel Taylor out of St. Petersburg, Florida, went into a McDonald's. I guess he ordered his food. He got upset because there were no straws. So he went to the counter. I guess he asked for a straw. It turned into it got out of hand. He grabs the McDonald's employee, a female McDonald's employee, and he grabbed her and almost dragged her pretty much halfway over the counter. And all of a sudden, she just started going off on him. But he drags her. He puts his hand on a woman, pulls her over. Whether it be a woman or a guy, you just don't do that over some straws or anything. That you weren't being harmed, anything like that. So, with that said, Daniel Taylor, you are Stu Nod of the Week. You dumb fool, you.
I mean, first of all, I think it's I ain't gonna say hilarious because you could clearly tell that this man was all about his authority. The way he was pointing his fingers.
Yeah.
Anybody that would just grab someone by the shirt, a female by the shirt and pull her over that counter like that, that is something wrong with that man. And the humorous part in it all is that even though she was this short little girl, from what I hear, is a former boxer.
Yeah.
And she wailed on homeboy.
I counted 13 shots to the head.
And she did not miss.
Yeah, I mean, she hit him on the arm the last 2 or 3 times.
She did not miss.
Yeah, she was connecting with that fool, man. And the guy, it's funny, I listened to the audio of the video, and he was like, I want her fired.
Right.
Like, it's obvious. Here's the thing. It's obvious. One, this guy thinks he's living in a time where it's okay. Well, it might have been okay during a slavery time for you to grab some African-American or anybody. Like, I think that his mentality was, and I don't want to bring race into it all the time, but I honestly think it is. I think he grabbed her because he thought he could.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be another thing where he might, I don't want to put this all on Trump supporters, but, he's got them thinking that they can do and say what the hell they want to say. And I'm not saying that that's why, but there's a lot of bold people coming out now thinking that they can do what they want to do. It ain't going to happen.
Yep.
So anybody who thinks that because your president is saying stuff that you can come out and say and do what you want, you got another thing coming. So just letting you know that right now. I'm putting it out there. So that's our Stu Nod of the week. And I want to say it again. Daniel Taylor, you are Stu Nod of the week.
Say his name. Say his name.
Daniel Taylor, you are Stu Nod of the week. You dumb fool, you. That's right. I said it. So now we will have Queen V's words of wisdom to end the show. Queen V, hit us off with that words of wisdom.
So I actually didn't prepare anything. But there is a quote by Ryan Coogler that says, Black on Black crime is a massive human rights issue that's going on in America. Now, while, statistics show that Black on Black crime is not the majority of the crime that goes on in America, but in my opinion, it's massive human rights issue enough because any of my people dying is an issue for me. So I don't care how small the statistics are when it comes to Black on Black crime. It is a massive human rights issue. We need to make sure that our people ain't dying. And we already got other people killing us. We can't be killing each other. So we got to figure out a way to keep these guns off the streets. We got to figure out a way to make sure our young men and women are prepared and ready for this world so they don't feel like they got to go to a life of crime. And we got to teach these punks, because they're punks. Stop pulling out a gun every time somebody say something to you that you don't like. Stop pulling out a gun every time somebody step on your shoe or rub you the wrong way. Back in the day, we used to fight with our fists. You know what I mean? If you have a problem with somebody, duke it out like we used to do back in the day. But don't be taking people's lives, because like you said earlier, Dre, you killing that one person affects so many people, and it's unnecessary. You have no right to be taking anybody's life. So put them guns away and stop being punks and shooting people when they do something that you don't like. That's the punk way out. Man up. Find a way to deal with controversy and things you don't like. That's all I got.
And there you have it. Queen V's words of wisdom. We'd like to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Make sure you give us your comments. Let us know what you think at weinthelounge.com/45. So there you can leave your comments and get the show notes for what we talked about. Once again, thank you for tuning in. This is Dre and V, and we are out of here. Peace. We out.